Whole CEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in weight loss, mindset, and business. Learn our top tips to set you up for success so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, and feel unstoppable.
Hi, Lisa.
I'm so happy you're here.
Well, I am flattered and honored, and I'll tell you why I'm honored.
Why is that?
Because I don't take for granted the opportunity to talk to people about their lives in a way that may have some impact. I think that's
why you're here.
That's a privilege. That's a real privilege. So I feel privileged to do it. And I don't know that what I have to say will have any particular value for
Of course it does. You've
listening.
represented a record 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers, in addition to authoring 19 books. So I think the audience would love to hear from you about what do you think do you think success leaves clues?
I do. And Lisa, I think we've talked a little bit about this personally as well. I believe very firmly that success leaves clues, but I also believe equally firmly that so does failure. And, it's an interesting thing, Lisa. If you and I walked into a bookstore today, or even went on Amazon, and we typed in the topic of success, we would find in the bookstore or in Amazon thousands and thousands of books on success. Now, if we walked into the bookstore or Amazon and we typed in the word failure, we would find very few books on the topic.
Well, how can you inspire our audience to be more unstoppable and more in that success category?
Yes. Well, interestingly, and I think you know this about me, I believe that the first steps are probably best taken by elimination, not addition.
Really?
And I may be an outlier in this way. And so before we begin our journey toward having a more productive, successful, efficient, effective, prosperous life, I think we would be very well served by pausing and trying with heroic courage to identify and then eliminate, almost like an assassin, the things that you or we may be doing that are reducing or limiting our potential.
You mean like distractions and stuff like that?
Distractions. The curse of the time in which we live,
Mm-hmm.
one of the curses, right? All ages have curses that they deal with.
Right.
But one of the curses of modern life is the curse of distraction. And it is a very serious and difficult curse, and it is seductive, and it is hard to fully identify. And it is causing a great deal of problems as we relate our mission to be more successful and efficient. So yes, to the degree that a human being can monitor their distraction level, and honestly, and it takes courage and brutal courage to monitor it, and then go about the business of trying to kill it off. I think that if you don't do that, you're in a boat, maybe a beautiful and big boat with a massive hole in it, and you're going to be taking in water, and the boat is ultimately going to sink.
Really? So how can you inspire people to be more focused on their goals and less susceptible to these distractions that are both a blessing and a curse, because on the one hand, we're so reachable, and on the other hand, we're so reachable. So it has two sides.
Yeah, I'm not sure distraction has many blessings, but to your question, I believe, Lisa, there is one question with two parts that really begins the journey. And I'm going to share the question with you. And it's an interesting thing, at least to me. It's the same question personally as it is professionally. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. So until a person, anyone listening to this, can answer this one question with two parts and can answer it comfortably, I believe they are driving in a circle. They're making figure eights. And the question with two parts is this. Ask yourself, what do you most want? And what are you willing to give up to get it?
I love that.
Let's do it again. So a person on this journey would be well advised to begin the journey by asking themselves one question with two parts. What do you most want in your life 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 1 year from now? What do you most want? And then please tell me, dear friend, what are you willing to give up to get it?
So success takes sacrifice. And do you think it's also important?
Significant sacrifice.
Is it also important to decide, why do you want it?
The history of humans is that when they have a good why, they can deal with almost any difficulty. When they don't have a good why, then the difficulties become much, much, much more burdensome. So Simon Sinek wrote a great book, important book called Start With Why.
I love that book.
The why is important, but so is asking the question. You know, human beings are unique and individual, and women and men and blacks and whites and gays and straights and young and old, and people want different things in their lives at different times. And so asking this question, what do you most want? What are you willing to give up to get it? I think is a very central part to beginning the journey.
Okay, so what do you want? Why do you want it? Eliminate distractions, and what are you willing to give up? I love the fact that you're giving our audience actionable steps. And I know that you said successfully.
Lisa, I do want to mention to you.
Please.
Now, you know me, and I know you, and you're rephrasing very wonderfully, as a moderator should, some of what I said. But I owe your audience and you the respect and the dignity of my real feelings. I am not advocating that people eliminate distraction. I am advocating that they radically eliminate distraction. So for example, I'll say something that none of your audience is going to do or agree with, but I mean
about distractions.
Yes. Now, I understand that your audience is going to listen to what I'm about to say and laugh and think I'm an idiot, and I understand that, and that's fine. But I mean what I'm about to say. If you want your life to get better, right? Let's imagine you want your life to get better. And you want your life to get better personally and professionally and spiritually and emotionally in all ways, right? I would indicate to you that you likely could do that by reducing 95% of your texting. Now, anyone listening to this is going to say, are you crazy? Why would I do that? That's insane. How would I communicate? But I mean what I'm saying. I think that about 95% of most texting falls into the nonsensical, vapid, insipid, idiotic, distraction, unimportant, And at moments in human, I read it statistically, so I think I shared it with you. 20% of all romantic relationships today end by text. Now,
I've had that happen to me. That was part of my inspiration for this podcast about being unstoppable. I mean,
right.
I think
And
that's
remember,
inexcusable.
inexcusable. And remember, I'm saying 20% of all romantic relationships, not 20% of millennial relationships.
Oh, yeah. It's
So
like a chicken
men
S way
and
out.
women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s are doing
Agree.
it.
I agree
Yeah.
with you. And
So,
I love this whole part about really focusing. And I have another topic that I wanted to
sure.
ask you about, since you're such
Yes,
a
ma'am.
wealth of information on being successful and what it takes. And do you think like how you do one thing is how you do everything?
Yes, I do. And so let me be very direct with you. How you do one thing is how you do everything generally. And so if a person listening to this has a messy car, now I don't mean a messy car once a month. If a person has a messy car once a month, it doesn't mean a damn thing. If a person has a messy car on the week that they move, it doesn't mean a damn thing. But if a person has a messy car 95% of the time, right?
Yeah.
Then I can tell you with great authority that they have a messy life.
So your environment is important.
That they're right. If they are, people like this, Lisa, they're perpetually late, right? You set up a 12 o'clock lunch with them and they show up at 12:20 and they don't apologize. Always with some excuse about traffic or something. Now, if they do that consistently, if they do it once and they're terribly apologetic, there's nothing to learn from it except that they're having a bad day. But if they do it regularly, they have no reverence for time. And they have no reverence for time with you, and they have no reverence for time with themselves. And the way they do anything, everything, the way they do anything is the way they do everything.
I love it. I really love your just straight up like
It is,
advice.
I understand why many people could hear this as pretty, what would be a good word? Intense, direct, tough, boot campish. But look, people are really in a mess. I mean, you don't need me to read a newspaper and find out that suicides are up, depression's up, anxiety's up. There's a reason why some of these things are happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's sad for young people, and I know it's a lot having to do with exposure to social media and being so accessible and having
Here's
being on the
another thing,
phone.
Lisa. Lisa, social media is something that I think specializes in getting people to confuse activity with effectiveness.
I love that. That's a great thing.
If I took anybody listening to this podcast, if I blindfolded them and put them in my car, I was in the driver's seat and they were in the passenger seat, and I took them into a parking lot and I drove in circles, right? They had a blindfold on, and if I asked them, "Are we driving?" they would say, "Yes, we are." And I'd say, "Well, how do you know we're driving?" Well, I can smell the gas. I can feel the wind blowing through my hair. I can hear the engine moving. I know we're driving. Well, indeed, we are driving, aren't we? But we're not going anywhere. So that person in my car with a blindfold on would confuse activity with effectiveness. And I think so too, people confuse social media and activity with effectiveness. You can't take likes to a bank.
I
Best I
agree.
know, You cannot take likes
You
to
cannot.
a bone from
I
deposit.
love your straight up, straightforward approach. And do you have any other like tips you want to leave our audience with?
Yes, I do want to say something, and this may be the most maybe hard to hear. I don't know. This is pretty direct. And I would encourage you, if you're willing, to write it down, because it's so potentially jarring that I think writing it down could be of some value. And here it is. So write it down if you choose. In the end, life offers you a stark choice. You can A, do the difficult, or B, endure the difficult. So life offers you, in the end, a stark choice. You can A, do the difficult, or B, endure the difficult. And it becomes each person's choice in the end, which road to take. They can do the difficult or endure the difficult. And I'm going to encourage them to consider the question and then make the choice that they think is right for them in the long run.
I love it. And where can people find you if they want to reach out to you on your website or your YouTube to see more of your words of wisdom?
Well, my books, if they're interested. My most recent book was a business book called Broken Windows, Broken Business. And that's a book about how little details matter a lot. And it's a good book. It's a tough book because it indicates that little details really do matter a lot. And you go on Amazon and you type in Broken Windows, Broken Business, and you should be able to see it there. And I think you'll find it of some modest interest.
And Michael Levine Media, or are you on
MichaelLevineMedia.com.
Michael Levine.
Sure. If you go on YouTube, I think there are some, you can type in Michael Levine success speeches. There's a couple there. And it's been a pleasure. I hope it is of some modest value to you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining Whole CEO with Lisa G. This episode is brought to you by my friends at Bossell. Looks like a beautiful dress watch, acts like a smartwatch, so you can go from your workout to a dinner, screen your calls, track your activity, even your sleep. Share this with your friends for a chance to win a Bossell watch.